that's not quite there yet. Okay, good to go.
Welcome. This is Sophie Leach from NSEAD, and you're joining us, I hope, this evening, or maybe you're joining us later on in the year. We have tonight the amazing Adele Darlington with us, and she will be doing a live demonstration as well as sharing a few ideas from her, what I would say is a fantastic must-have little book, but more about that later. Adele is a primary teacher, a trainer, a consultant, and, as I said just now, author. I'm going to ask Adele if you would say a little bit more about your experience.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Adele Darlington. I've been a primary school teacher now for 23 years. I'll whisper that because that makes me sound old, doesn't it? I've been teaching in the same school for 23 years. Some people might think that you need to move on, but I'm more than happy in my lovely little school. I've had 3 children go through school with me, so it's a very nice place to be. I'm still there 23 years later. In school, I teach early years, and I've just realised it's my voice I can hear coming back, isn't it? I thought someone was it coming in. I teach early years, but I've got experience across the whole school. My school's a small school, like I've said before, so I wear quite a lot of hats. I'm a member of the SLT. I'm also the art lead, DT lead, and phonics lead. So those of you who are small school teachers will know know the joys that brings with it. So yeah, I've been teaching a long time. I also train skit students as part of my job. And yeah, as Sophie said, I'm an author now too. Got my lovely little book here, nice pocket-sized, perfect for your school bag.
And in fact, I would like you to, if you can, just share a little bit more about your book, your 100 Ideas for Primary Teachers. I have my own copy, but I know that I wish everyone could have one that's watching.
Yeah. Well, it's part of a series that Bloomsbury do. They do 100 ideas for primary teachers for all subjects and different aspects of teaching. So this is the art one, and I'd like to say this is the first one that's got a multicoloured cover, which I think is quite apt for the art edition, isn't it? Yep, no plain red or blue or green for me. I've got rainbow. So it's basically a book that's got, like it says on the tin, 100 ideas for primary teachers. It's split up into different areas of the art curriculum. So there are some painting ideas, drawing ideas, printing ideas, sculpting, collage, a bit of everything really, art in the outdoors. Also some warm-up ideas, because I think it's quite nice when you're teaching art to do some little warm-up, few-minute activities just to get the children settled into a lesson. There's also my favourite chapter, which I think you like too, don't you, Sophie, which we're going to come on to later. But my favourite chapter is about careers in the art world, which I think is really important to share with children. But it's perfect to fit in your bag. And a lot of the ideas can be scaled down or made more difficult for the more able artists in your classrooms.
And I know that you're going to show us now a little practical demonstration. And I wonder, is the idea from?
It is. We're going to be doing, let me find it. Idea is in the drawing section. It is. Well, I should mind my way around my own book, shouldn't I?
There's so many ideas in it. It's lovely.
It's idea number 24. We're going to look at some snowflake symmetry.
Fantastic. I think over to you then, and let's see how.
Okay, well, before I start doing that, I'll say this is something that I have done with my class. I teach early years, but rather than the drawing element of it, we use loose parts. So we use because it was snowflakes, we use sequins and those lovely glass beads you can get, and we created it with loose parts. I've also done this with the whole school in an assembly. At my school, we do art assemblies every half term. So the children will bring their sketchbook in, and I demonstrated it with a visualizer, and the children all had to go at drawing their own snowflakes. We started the assembly by looking at how snow has been depicted in sort of famous artworks, like Monet's Snowy Picture, and we looked at lots of different ones. And then the children then, like I say, we looked at snowflakes and snowflake symmetry before they then went on to draw their own. So I'm going to swap cameras. I hope this works. Right, can you hear me, Sophie? Can you hear me?
That's a yes from me.
Fabulous, good. Right, so on the Bloomsbury website, you can download resources. I've created resources for a lot of the ideas, not all of them, but the snowflake symmetry one does have this template, because snowflakes have sixfold symmetry. So the children that I did it with at school, lots of them were able to do this, but we did have a lot of snowflakes with 8 arms rather than 6. So if you want to download these from the Bloomsbury website, you can. Look, another book popped up. I'm going to use gold and silver pens. I've also got some sequins. I'm not going to use those today because they're a bit, I'm going to get them everywhere and we've only got 10 minutes. But you can use snowflakes to add detail to your, you can use sequins to add detail to your snowflakes as well. So the children can either draw this themselves, got a ruler here, but to save time, I've printed one off from Bloomsbury. So what you need to explain to the children, obviously, that is sixfold symmetry. So whatever you do on one of the strands of the snowflake, you need to do on each of them. So I'll start with a gold pen. Hopefully it'll work. So you could, can you see that? It's not showing up very well, is it? But there you go.
Yep.
You can see it. Whatever you do, you need to do on each section of the snowflake. So the children find it easiest, the ones that I've worked with, if they can turn their snowflake round and just do the same each time they turn round. Okay, so they might want to do some lines. We'll move on from lines in a second, but we'll just do the main bit. See the snowflake starting to build up. I'm sure you can see by me doing this how effective it is when you use loose parts as well with those younger children. Can you see that? Is it showing up? Yes. Right, so I'm going to do some circles this time. You don't have to use silver pens. You can use pencils. Blue's a nice one to use for snow. Use paint. The children, when we did it in assembly, just brought their normal sketching pencils in. I'm going to switch to a gold now, so you could have straight lines.
And when you do it in assembly,
Yeah.
do you have the same sort of screen that you've created? Do you use a visualizer, or how do you show that?
I do either use the visualizer. We've got a computer in our hall, so I can connect it all up, or I sometimes pre-record so that I can just play it to the children. And if I pre-record, that means that I can then circulate amongst the children as well and chat to them while they're working, which I prefer to do. I do that in my art lessons in class as well. I pre-record them so that I can then act as an extra TA in my classroom, or as the only TA. You know what primary schools are like.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And then you've got it for a different class, or you've got
Exactly.
it for...
You can use it the next year. And actually, we do it in my school. I teach the art across the school, so they all have me playing in their classrooms, and sometimes the children answer me when I ask questions on the screen, but they think I'm actually the other side of it. Although sometimes when I walk around school, I can hear my voice booming out of some of the classrooms, which isn't very nice. Okay, so you can just keep, I think I prefer the gold look nice. I'm going to add some more gold. I think I'll do another. So the snowflakes you can keep as simple or as complicated as you want. It is nice to look at some sort of macro photography of snowflakes, so you can, the children can really see close up the intricate designs, and they love the fact that no two snowflakes look the same, so it's the same for their snowflakes. You know, don't copy the person next to you, it's your snowflake. I did find when I was doing it in assembly, some of the year sixes did get a little bit too detailed, so they were getting a bit confused. That's why it does help to turn your piece of paper round. Have you got any other questions, Sophie, while I'm doing this?
So if you were doing this in year 6 and you're doing a whole school assembly, yeah, would you ever do it in pairs? Would you do it with older students, with younger students? How would you organize your sketchbook assemblies?
It depended on what the topic is. Sometimes we do them whole school, or sometimes we can split them, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, and do them separately, because like I said, we're a small school, so we do have the capacity to do that. This I did do as a whole school, and the TAs come in as well. So as well as myself, there are other adults in the school to help. Early years didn't do this. This was from year 1 upwards.
Ah, brilliant. Thank you.
But the children love art assemblies. They get very excited. You can hear them coming in the doors with their sketchbooks going, yes. It's obviously because they see me. We in fact get lots of questions about assemblies and how to use sort of art in assemblies. So it's great to hear how you organise that. Yeah. And I find it's really useful because you can use assembly as a way to help the children retrieve knowledge that they've learned in their classrooms, and also to pre-teach them, you know, if they've got something coming up. I did one recently on, we looked at different aspects of colour theory. So like I said, for some children, that was a retrieval of prior knowledge that they've been taught in class. And for the other children, it was pre-teaching them for something that's coming up. It's a really nice way to just show that as a school you value art, and also just another way to give the children the knowledge that you want them to have.
Oh no, this looks, I think I've actually had a little quick go here, and I think the turning of the paper really reinforces sort of the sense of repetition, and yeah. I'm eager to, I can see how that turning makes it, you know, reinforces that the repetition. And
otherwise you do find children getting a bit of a muddle. And on the Bloomsbury website there's also some examples that the children did in my assembly for people to look at. We had in one of our art assemblies, we had Tom Percival as a guest online, the children's book illustrator, which was lovely. And also I've interviewed some architect. I interviewed Narinda Sagu, who I played to the children in an assembly. So our art assemblies
incredible. That's absolutely fantastic. Amazing.
It's just a way. I mean, I would teach art all day, every day if I could, but obviously there's a lot of other subjects on the curriculum. But it's just a way to get extra art into the school day.
That's really helpful that you've sort of shared a little bit of background on how you manage those. But the idea that we can now access amazing people like Narinda, and you know, through our online.
Yeah, I mean, he did the interview for my school, so I mean that's not on the Bloomsbury website, but I mean if you speak to people like Narinda, they're usually so accommodating, and they're so passionate about their careers that they want to share their knowledge and share their jobs with the children in your school.
And he's such a passionate advocate of drawing, isn't he? Really.
I mean, he's so talented, isn't he? He really is amazing. I think my snowflake's just about done, but like I say, to add detail to it, you can add sequins, you can use collage, shiny bits of paper, blue paint, blue pens are a nice addition as well.
And would you bring it a bit closer to the lens? Let's have a look at your
yeah,
oh my, that's fantastic. It's lovely.
So simple though, isn't it? But the children are wowed because just by turning their paper, they can produce something amazing. So yeah, if I show you actually, because I've got it on the close, it's what did I say? That was number 24. Oh no, that's idea 24. There we go. Snowflake symmetry. So it's really simple. There's teaching tips, bonus idea, and it just sets out the activity.
That's again on page 20.
No, it's not page, it's idea number 24.
Oh, lovely.
It is on page 32.
And that's a wonderful way of also sort of showing that drawing is, many people think that drawing alone is representation or trying to make something look like. And this is, you know, this is mathematical drawing. It's drawing to
well, you've basically invented a snowflake.
Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't, you don't want it to look like anybody else's. If yours looks different, that's good.
And I like the way that you suggested perhaps the use of repetition with objects, so that there's no right or wrong way as well.
Yeah, and I find, especially with the younger children, because they often don't want to get things wrong. I mean, I haven't got that from me. There's no right or wrong, but when you creating art with loose parts, you can just literally wipe the slate clean, can't you, and start again. Which is nice. Yeah. And I've done this before with younger ones. Like I say, the glass pebbles and stuff, but you can also do a metallic version, so you can use nuts and bolts and things like that, which is quite nice because you've still got the silver of a snowflake.
And then you've got the animation there as well. You could almost watch it.
Yeah, I haven't gone there yet with my early years class, but you could, yeah. Anything shiny. Keys are a great thing. I never throw keys away because they're great to have in your loose part tin.
I think that's from reading your book, I felt that the inventor, you are an incredible inventor, and also sustainability, making sure that you're using, like you just said, I never throw a key away. You use there's a lot of recycling, and you're very keen to not be using creating more materials that
the only thing, I mean, you might be able to help me on this one. I want to try and find a sustainable version of a polystyrene tile.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm on a mission, because I mean, it's such an easy way to introduce children to printmaking, isn't it? But it's not very sustainable if you're using the polystyrene.
No. Have you tried cardboard? And it needs to be really soft cardboard and a biro.
Oh, right.
And this is I did this with year 7s, really soft sugar paper, but you put sugar paper down, another layer of sugar paper and a biro. And that softness means that you indent the first layer of sugar paper, then roll up the sugar paper on the side you've drawn on, or wherever you've drawn, you tend to get the right lines. But I think it's I totally take my hats off to you to call out the use of polystyrene, because we're obviously trying to encourage
I mean, I have used plasticine or Play-Doh, but you've obviously got to have it flat, but then you can indent that.
Oh, tell us more about that.
Well, you can just roll out your Play-Doh, so you've got it flat as if you were going to, like pastry, and then using any mark making tool, you can make marks in it and then roll paint and then print in a similar way to polystyrene tile. But it's quite tricky because it does have to be flat, because if you've got any bumps, it's obviously not going to print properly, is it? Not going to get a clean print from it.
Sounds like magic.
Yes.
Also, want to ask you about when I think of Narinder and I think of him, I've heard him talk about how when he was a young boy at primary school, he found how much he liked drawing, and he's internationally known as being an amazing drawer of buildings. And you have in the back of your lovely book, you have in there, and it's I Want to Be, isn't it? It's
something like that. I should know. Again, I should know my way around my book a bit more. But yeah, it's called Art Careers, and it's all, I am a fashion illustrator, I am a photographer, I am a graphic designer. Yeah, so yeah,
I made them fun. That was the loveliest thing, that you're I remember as a primary young person really not doing any art at all, not even knowing that the things I like doing at home could become a career of any description. And what you've done there is made those careers into fun and enabling and inspiring, and that little person that doesn't realize their amazing talent could one day become a
exactly. I think it's really important in school to raise the profile of art careers. I mean, thinking from my personal experience, I loved art at school, but I went to an old-fashioned all-girls grammar school that kind of favoured the more academic subjects, and because I was successful in the arty subjects as well as the academic, was steered down the academic route. So I ended up, believe it or not, with a politics degree. And I want children to follow their dreams. I've come full circle now and I've come back to art, but I want children to know that they've got, well, they need to value what they love. And I think traditionally people see art as an easy option, don't they?
Yes.
I think parents and children, they do see art as that easy option if you're not successful academically. And it's not like that at all. Art is a very difficult subject, isn't it? There's so much to it. And I think we need to really value those creative careers because we need them, don't we? We need all of these people in to keep society to go in. And I just want children to do what they love. Because I say I wish I had, but I suppose I wouldn't be where I am now if I had gone down a different route, would I? But I'm really passionate about the children doing what they love, because you study for a long time, you work for a long time, don't you? So it's important that you enjoy what you're doing.
I think you've nailed it there. That would you say, and I know that some of you've trained teachers, you've gone into schools. One of the things that we found is that people didn't enjoy art and they become responsible for art. It really, they feel like they've been given something that's very hard to then enjoy or to build, because they haven't got process and skills. And I must say your book does talk about all sorts of process and all sorts of skills and technique. Is that when you've been going into schools to support teachers building their curriculum, and somebody says, I can't draw, yet they're responsible for art? How do you manage that? How do you put across you can do this?
Yeah, I think it's changing that mindset, isn't it? I mean, I'm always talking to teachers in my school. I always say to them, don't say I'm rubbish at art in front of the children, because it's a learning process for all of us. And the thing with art is like you said before, there's no right or wrong, is there? It's an individual response to whatever the stimulus is. And if you expose children to different artists' work, they can see the huge variety that's out there. And you could be a really fabulous abstract artist, couldn't you? But you might find fine art difficult. I think because art is such a big subject, there's room for everybody to be successful at part of it.
So in your school, you work in the early years, and you're responsible for the art and design. You lead that curriculum. Are you do you teach it for all your year groups, or do your teachers?
I teach it. I'm very lucky, actually. The trust that I work in really do value art. And last year I taught the art lessons for the whole trust. So I pre-recorded all of their art lessons. So essentially I do teach it. I'm on the whiteboard. It's not me in person, but yeah, I do teach all of the art.
Gosh, and that's a huge achievement. How do you feel? Do teachers who do you work with the subjects or the themes that are already in the curriculum, or?
Yeah, I plan the art around the topics. So whatever topic they're doing, I try to link it. So for example, year 6 at the moment are learning about World War II. So they do a lot of Paul Nash work and looking at the war artists and then propaganda art. So we try to link it to the topics.
And it's also sort of very relevant to now, isn't it? The world in which the young people are.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to make tenuous. I don't make tenuous links. I only if it's purposeful.
And this year you're back in your school. You're responsible for early years.
Yeah.
And what would be the core things that you would hope you would begin with in the early years curriculum?
With regards to art, I do as much art as I possibly can. The young children that I teach, they want to explore, they want to find out for themselves. We do lots of exploratory stuff, but I do also teach them skills as well, because I think how are they going to learn if we don't teach them bits and bobs? So yeah, we do a mixture of exploring and finding out, and then I teach them as well.
And we also always get a lot of questions about books for young people, books for children, to encourage an interest in art, where would you, apart from NSEAD of course, but where would you, how would somebody who's responsible for art, where would you suggest that, how would you suggest that they begin developing a library for art?
Oh,
Good question.
it's a big question. I'm a bit of a, I buy lots and lots of books. I tend to, well, I'm on Twitter.
Yes.
Great place for networking and for finding out things.
Yes.
There's Facebook groups as well, aren't there, where people will drop ideas in if they find something good. I mean, the NC website, Facebook, and Access Art is great as well, isn't it? I
think you've actually, what you've just shared is brilliant. I think it's, if I can say, that's such a lovely, encouraging thing to do. You're such a great supporter of NSEAD, and I know that our Primary Art Ask NSEAD, this group, is filled with questions that people ask about how can I make sure that I have a representation of all different, you know, communities in there, in my books and in my artists and designers and crafts people that I show. And you've just said it, network, make sure that, I would really say, you know, do follow Adele on Twitter. You're a fantastic person to follow. No, you're always coming out and supporting people. So I'm going to leave that to you to say, you know, it's Adele. It's not Adele, it's Mrs.
Yes, Mrs. _Darl, DARL, yeah.
And that's on Twitter. And the same questions can happen if people are watching this on YouTube. Please just join us on Primary Art Ask NSEAD if you're thinking about becoming a primary teacher, or you are in fact an art teacher, and join NSEAD, of course.
Yeah. I think networking with people like yourselves on Facebook and Twitter is the best CPD, especially for art, because you can ask people in the same situation as yourselves in schools who've been there, done that, or going through the same thing. And people are so helpful, aren't they?
Oh, well, I mean, Adele, I can't thank you enough for joining us this evening and sharing just one of the 100. Yes, there are another 99 ideas that bring, I would say this brings learning in other subjects, but it brings learning about art to life as well. And I loved how you shared that, something which I will share, that Jean Edwards has said, I like how you've used the 6 segments, as it's so misleading when it's 8, just because it's easy to fold like that. So I think that's you're instructing on ideas and ways of drawing that bring learning in all sorts of ways to life through our subject. And you know, even just the turning of the paper, I would not have thought of unless it's just really important, those sort of ideas of how to see that something is symmetrical, and you certainly embed those sort of the language of art and mathematical language as well. So we're really grateful.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. And Adele, have you got anything else you'd like to say, or
only that, although it's called 100 Ideas for Primary Teachers, I don't think it's just for teachers. I think it's a nice resource for parents to have at home to do with their children, and for groups like guides and scouts. And you know, it's quite misleading, the title. It's not just for primary teachers, it's for everybody.
I think
everybody
that's
that works with children.
It's brilliant. And I have to say, I am going to hold on to my copy because I just love it so much. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining us tonight, and Diane as well. So thanks so much, and especially after a day of marking, which I know you've done, and teaching and everything else that you do. Okay, so thank you very much, and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.